Good news to the Biafran families. But before then, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are hearing me from and depending on your location. Well, this message is coming from the office of the president of Burkina Faso, IBRAHIM Traorè, who made us to understand that the matter of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu have been taken to the office of the office of the Russian President Vladimir Putin, and he have promised to intervene on the issue of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. That injustice can never stand anymore. Anyway, let me not waste much of your time. I would like you to see this clip, and then we'll come back here for more discussion, please. And as you're watching, kindly like, share, comment, and make sure you keep subscribing for more interesting videos. I'll be right back. Help me to see this clip, and also drop your own judgment.
The case of Nnamdi Kanu has taken another shocking turn as Burkina Faso's president, Ibrahim Traorè, takes a bold step to secure the IPOB leader's freedom. Reports indicate that Traorè recently visited Russia, where he held discussions with President Vladimir Putin regarding Kanu's release and the broader issue of self-determination in Africa.
During my recent visit to Moscow, I met privately with the President of the Russian Federation. Our discussion went beyond trade and security to address the moral duty of global leaders to defend justice. I raised the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, explaining that his case is bigger than one man. It reflects what Africa stands for in the eyes of the world, and whether we will continue to silence our own voices for justice or unite to uphold universal human rights. I explained clearly that Nnamdi Kanu's voice has awakened millions. Agree or disagree with his methods, his message resonates with many Africans who feel unheard, unrepresented, and neglected. I told him that Kanu's imprisonment has become a symbol not of division, but of the unfinished business of African freedom. The Russian president listened closely. He asked questions not as a politician seeking advantage, but as a man trying to understand the deeper current behind this issue. We spoke about the political implications, but also about humanity, the simple truth that no one should be punished indefinitely for speaking their mind, especially when that speech seeks justice. I told him plainly, what happens to Nnamdi Kanu affects the moral balance of Africa. When one voice of freedom is silenced, every other voice grows weaker. And when one African is unjustly caged, the rest of us remain partly enslaved. He nodded and responded thoughtfully. He said, Africa deserves to breathe freely. It deserves leaders who protect its conscience, not imprison it. Those words struck me deeply. I urged him to use his country's diplomatic weight to open channels of conversation, not confrontation with the Nigerian government. I made it clear that the goal is not interference but mediation, not pressure but peace. The Russian Federation, I said, can help foster dialogue that respects Nigeria's sovereignty while promoting justice and humanitarian principles. He agreed that lasting peace is built not by suppressing truth but by confronting it. He said Russia would be open to facilitating talks that encourage a peaceful and fair resolution, and to standing with African nations that seek equity rather than exploitation. We both understood that Africa's struggles are not isolated. Every unjust imprisonment, every silenced truth, weakens the moral foundation of the global order. The same world that speaks loudly of democracy must also listen when Africans demand it in their own way. As I left Moscow, I carried with me a renewed belief that justice can still prevail, not through force, but through cooperation and moral courage. The Russian president's response gave me hope that the world is beginning to understand Africa's new tone. We are no longer asking for permission to be free. We are asserting our right to live in dignity. Nnamdi Kanu's case has become more than a legal issue. It is now a moral test for Nigeria, for Africa, and for all who claim to stand for justice. If we can unite to ensure his fair release and humane treatment, then perhaps we can also unite to redefine Africa's destiny. I will continue to speak, not out of sentiment, but out of duty. History will not forgive silence when justice calls. I believe that one day soon, Africa will look back and remember this moment as the turning point when nations began to act with conscience, and when the world began to listen to Africa not as a subject, but as a partner. For Nnamdi Kanu, and for every voice silenced by power, we will not stop until freedom and fairness triumph. I listened to his recent speech in which he said he is dying inside, that the only thing that can revive him is Biafra, and I was heartbroken. Those words were not merely a cry for independence. They were the cry of a man who has given everything, even his health, for what he believes is right. No leader with a conscience can ignore such a cry. When I heard him speak of death and despair, I felt the pain of every African freedom fighter who has ever been misunderstood, persecuted, or abandoned by the very people he sought to defend. His voice reminded me of the days of our ancestors of Lumumba, Sankara, and Nkrumah, men who were demonized when alive and celebrated only after they were gone. Must we repeat that cycle? Must Africa always wait until her heroes are dead before she honors their sacrifices? I told the Russian president exactly that Nnamdi Kanu's situation has gone beyond the boundaries of politics. It is now a humanitarian concern, an issue of conscience for the entire African continent. I said to him, if this man dies in silence, history will not only question Nigeria, it will question all of us who had the power to speak and chose to remain silent. The Russian president looked at me for a long moment and said, President Traoré, your voice carries the anger of truth. No man who fights for his people should die in chains. Those words struck deep. They reminded me that justice is not a Western concept. It is a universal principle that must be defended everywhere, especially in Africa, where oppression still wears new faces and speaks new languages. I told him that Africa is not asking for pity, nor for external rescue. We are asking for fairness, for mutual respect, and for space to define our destiny. Nnamdi Kanu's struggle may have been born in Nigeria, but the spirit behind it lives in every African who refuses to be silent in the face of injustice. I emphasize that his detention, despite court rulings and international appeals, is eroding trust in Africa's democratic process. It tells the world that in Africa, justice can still be ignored when it becomes inconvenient to those in power. That is a dangerous message, one that undermines every effort we are making to build strong, credible, and accountable governments. The Russian president agreed that Africa must not be treated as a continent of perpetual victims, but as a partner capable of determining its own moral course. He acknowledged that Moscow would be willing to open quiet diplomatic channels to encourage Nigeria toward a resolution that preserves both its sovereignty and its humanity. When I left that meeting, I felt the weight of our shared responsibility as leaders. I realized that the fate of one man, somewhere in a detention cell, could shape the future of how the world perceives Africa's moral integrity. Since that day, I have instructed my diplomatic team to maintain communication with our Russian counterparts. The goal is simple: to transform sympathy into strategy and empathy into effective diplomacy. We must ensure that dialogue replaces delay and that compassion replaces condemnation. To the Nigerian government, I once again say this with all respect: release Nnamdi Kanu not as a concession, but as a gesture of courage. Let his freedom mark the beginning of national healing. Let it show the world that Nigeria remains a land where justice still breathes and where leadership still carries a human heart. To the African Union, I say, the time to act is now. The silence of our continental institutions has become too heavy, too loud. We cannot continue to preach unity while ignoring the pain of those who cry for freedom within our own borders. To our youth, the ones watching, questioning, and sometimes losing faith, I say this: do not give up on Africa. Change comes slowly, but it comes surely. Men like Nnamdi Kanu have planted seeds that will one day bloom into nations of justice, dignity, and equality. And to Nnamdi Kanu himself, if my words ever reach you, hold on. You are not forgotten. Across this continent, millions are praying for you, millions are speaking your name, and millions are carrying forward the vision you represent. The struggle you began is no longer yours alone. It belongs to every African who refuses to kneel before injustice. Africa is rising not with weapons, but with wisdom, not through chaos, but through courage. And we will not rest until the conscience of this continent is restored. If I must travel again, if I must speak to more world leaders, I will do so without hesitation. Because the life of one African who speaks truth to power is worth more than the silence of 1,000 who choose comfort over conviction. In every era, there comes a moment when history pauses and waits to see who will stand for what is right. This is that moment. For Nigeria, for Africa, for Nnamdi Kanu, justice delayed is not just justice denied, it is freedom betrayed, and Africa will not betray her own again.
Well, a lot of people have seen this video, and many people think it is AI. You know, it have gotten to the stage of our life when nobody is ready to accept the truth anymore. When you say the truth, they will tell you this one is AI video. When you made a write-up or an article, they will come out and tell you it is a chat GP, chat GT, or whatever they call it. Our society have lost it all. Ibrahim Traorè have been talking about the issue of Nnamdi Kanu not once, not twice. So I will not be surprised if he really takes the matter of Nnamdi Kanu to Putin, who is bent on liberating Africans, unlike the ones we are calling, because Biafrans and Igbos and every other one who is into this agitation, we are calling the wrong people. The Europe, the US, America, Canada, and the rest of them have a large interest in in the mineral resources that come from my land. And that was why you see they are fighting Putin. Not because Putin have done anything wrong, but because Putin is the one supplying them all the natural gas they needed. Are you hearing me now? Putin is the one supplying them all the natural gas they needed in Europe. And any day he decided to switch it off, no natural gas to Europe. So all this Ukraine and this they are just using Ukraine as a proxy. It's a proxy war. It's the whole Europeans, including UK, fighting Russia. But anyway, let me not go into it. That is not a part of my a part of my work. But I'm here to tell you that the matter of Nnamdi Kanu have taken a different and another major dimension, or rather you can call it a major twist, because what is coming to Nigerian government is bigger than what they might think. Look at the charade that happened on the court yesterday. I made it clear. I said that these people will keep on adjourning Nnamdi Kanu case, adjourning it until 2027. Some people say that I wish Nnamdi Kanu bad. In all these things that have been happening, is it not the same thing that I have said here? I have cried here. I have shouted here. Every now and then. Look at it now happening. Just look at it happening. On the fourth day, on 8th of October, the Zoo Medical Association refused to present the results of what they found out on Nnamdi Kanu's health system. The case was adjourned to 16, which is yesterday. 16th. What happens again? Up till now, still never get a briefing of what really transpired at the court yesterday. But to capture, the matter has been adjourned to 26th of this month. After 26th of this month, then they will set it to November. From November, then it will enter January or February 2026. Yes. Delay taxes, they are buying time to be killing Nnamdi Kanu slowly and slowly. But the most funniest part of all these things, the most funniest and the enjoyable part of it is that the world is watching. Even if the world cannot do anything, but posterity will never, I repeat, posterity will never be kind to anybody who knows about Nnamdi Kanu's case and close his ears or close his eyes to the realities of life. Yes, I love what is happening now. Let it teach the Igbos a lesson that they need to unite together if they really want to fight the enemies. Now, people are busy celebrating. Everybody is decamping to APC. They don't know what is coming their way. Tinubu is going to resonate, or rather, repeat what he did in Lagos by holding that so-called Zojuria hostage. Look at, from beginning of his appointment to the last person, all of them are all criminals, corrupted politicians who are answering one case or the other, either with the EFCC or DSS. That is the people Tinubu used to surround himself. Just like Hitler. What is coming is, what would I call it? It's no more democracy. It's no more democracy happening in Nigeria. So anybody who is keep on telling you we're practicing democracy, if you talk like they say, everybody have freedom of movement. You can switch from one party to the other. You have right to do that. But behind switching from one party to the other, what comes before that? That is the question. What kind of threat are they giving to these people? Because most of all these people, is either you are involved in any criminal activities while you are decamping, or you have a second term. And the threat is that you must become APC or support APC with everything in you. Otherwise, you will lose your seat. APC not have ground in Imo State before. Rochas Okorocha won election under Apoga. Rochas Okorocha, he brought APC to Imo State. He was the one who sold Imo State to APC. Now, look at Peter Mba, who won election under PDP. Don't carry him now. Enter APC. This is why the Yorubas will keep on using bad math. I mean, using all to do whatever they like, playing caricature. They will tell you which party is Igbo's party. Which. Anyway, that's by the way. It is not even my business because I'm not into politics. I'm not going to become one soon. My only concern is to be passing message that come to my table to the Biafrans so that everybody will know how to manage his or her way. Zoo, what is coming is bigger than what you people think. Because you people have ended up bribing all the whole European countries, I mean Western allies, so that they will turn a blind eye to what is happening to the people of Biafra. But now, another new government have arisen, or rather, another new forces have come into the place or into the picture. It is now a do or die affair for those ones who claimed that without them, Biafrans are better off dead. That is the zoo. But there's no problem. As Mbotinta, I achon orenchi. And Nyuku Berembosha Yuku. It is a thing of pain and anger that up to this moment we are still talking about release Mazen and the Kano, not release Mazen and the Kano. And the people who supposed to be at the helm, I mean at the front, are the ones now who are backsliding, using one nonsense law that never existed or the other to make sure that they keep on crippling the young man. But it is well. Today, Friday, TGIF, thank God it is Friday. Whatever you are doing, always remember, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu must be released, whether the zoo like it or not. So have a nice day. I'm going to go Lord continue to bless us. There's no much time for me to read comments, but whatever you think concerning this matter or this video or the clip you just finished watch, drop it at the comment section of this video, and they shall be well with every one of us who do the needful. Kachineke jikeni le gozie woke gozie nwanyi. Mena anyị fini na ibu n'obi na abụrụ njọ site n'afọ nna na nwa na nke mmụọ nsọ. Ọ ga-adịrịrị gị na mma gụwawo nwa Chineke. I shall be well with you. Bye for now, my wonderful people.